Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fandom Stranger Show. This is Hawk Dad, admin for the Daily Comics Nexus network on Facebook. Here's a cat saying hello to everybody. He says hello. So we're gonna review Daredevil Father in light of Father's Day here. Sorry, I have to do this in my bedroom. Everybody else is busy and I don't have the space. Alright, so Daredevil Father. This was made by Joe Quesada, Danny Mika, and Richard Eisenov. This novel, or this graphic novel, in the storyline here was written and also illustrated by Joe Quesada. This was his return to comic books after being made editor-in-chief at Marvel. It was highly anticipated when it came out. The reviews of it were pretty middle of the road. Some people thought it was okay. Some people thought it was kind of crappy. But we're going to talk about a little bit about it here. So, it's a little bit of a reflective of Matt Murdock's past. Thankfully, this is non-canonical. Just let me preface this. Everything I'm about to say, this is non-canonical. This doesn't affect anything in the main streamline. This was just a temporary one-off story that they just wanted to tell. So this novel expands a little bit of the history of Daredevil, a little bit more of his origin stories, like what it was like to grow up with his father. It was pretty controversial, almost like right off the bat. Here we see Jack Murdock, Matt Murdock's father, giving him a good smack across the face, drawing blood, and then, we see a little bit more expanding onto everything. This whole book is centered around father issues, children with father issues, with Matt Murdock's father. If you're not too familiar with the origin story of Daredevil, he was the child of Irish immigrants that came to New York. He was, of Irish descent. His father was a boxer. He was a champion. His mother ran away when Matt was very, very young. So Jack raised him single-handedly. As Jack's boxing career dwindled down, he took up working as the strongman for a local mafia. Matt discovered that, and Jack felt ashamed of himself, so he decided to go back into boxing and to make his son proud of him and change things around. Now, he never really kicked his alcohol problem. He never really kicked it. He still kind of had it, but eventually, he would try to earn his son's final respect when he was told to throw a boxing match and decided not to, which is what resulted in him being gunned down in a back alleyway. Matt had already decided of what he was already going to be doing, because by that point Matt had already become blinded, and he was already kind of training, doing his own thing behind his father's back, practicing boxing, martial arts, and gymnastics. And it was after his after his father was killed, that's when he meets up with Stick, and that's when we go into the whole John Romita, Frank Miller, Man Without Fear story, which we'll talk about later in my next video here for Hotter Than Hell month. So the getting back to this book, so this is what we kind of expand into it. The basic storyline structure for this is very similar to how you would tell a detective story, which is fantastic, because honestly, as much as anybody wants to say, Moon Knight isn't the Batman of the Marvel Universe, it's Daredevil. I mean, outright, it's Daredevil. He is the Batman. Um, the artwork, the artwork in this is, I mean, John Romita Jr. does, or not John Romita, Joe Quesada does really good work. I've never really had much of a complaint about him. But there are some things like, okay, this panel right here. I mean, look at those feet. Look at that. And look at that torso. Look at that chest. I mean, that is some class A 90s material right there, man. That is Rob Liefeld 100%, man. That is ridiculous. That's over the top. It's that kind of stuff. It's like there's little bits of that in here where it's, you know, it's gripping of 90s. So the general story of it is there's a heat wave going on in New York City, right? There's a millionaire named Nero. He sets up a gang of superpowered freaks, and they're out trying to clean up the streets. Daredevil he's kind of dealing with them, while there's also a serial killer roaming free in Hell's Kitchen. And so that's the whole point, is that those two are trying to kind of stop the serial killer from killing more folks while also stepping on each other's toes. Now there's a bit of a plot twist. Like I said, this is very much a detective story where something kind of where there'll be characters introduced in the beginning who you will not too much of a, you really won't you won't assume too much of them at first, and then you'll be led through a series of misdirections who you think are going to be the villains, and then at the end everything comes full circle, and then you end up finding out who the real villain is. And I don't want to give away anything about that, so I'll try not to show you guys any of the last few pages. The dialogue in the book it's serviceable. I mean, it's good. I mean, in the sense that you can follow along very well. And it's I wouldn't put it very high up in my list. I wouldn't put this book very high up in my priority, but it would. I mean, I would recommend it as a buy, especially if you are a Daredevil fan. If you're just getting into Daredevil, you could probably hold off on this until later. There's other books that are worth the try. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else really to say about it. You could probably find this used on Amazon and eBay. You'd probably find it about $5 to $6 if you're lucky. I wouldn't pay much more than that. If you can find it digitally for 99 cents or $2.99, $3.99, go for it. I mean, there's really no harm. Just give it a shot. I mean, give it a shot, but like I said, if you're just starting off with Daredevil, I wouldn't start here, just because everything that's discussed and about his origins, it's non-canonical, so it doesn't matter. All right. Well, you guys have a great night, and check out our Facebook page for and future dates. I'll be doing a gigantic introduction to Daredevil. We're going to do a little bit of a buyer's guide. I'm going to discuss where to start and how to start in Daredevil. Just let me look forward to it. It's going to be fun. All right. Guys, have a great night. Have a happy Father's Day. Or at least I hope you had a happy Father's Day, because it should be winding down. All right, guys. Later.